To HSN, my name is Jeff Cowan and this is my very first host pick. If you haven't watched HSN before, we do this a couple of times a year where the hosts actually put together 2 hours of items. And my background was in jewelry. Over 16 years ago, I was introduced to the world of gemstones and I haven't looked back. Gemstones are beautiful, there's no doubt about it, but there's so much more to them. There's the lore, the legend, the history, the geography, the geology that comes down to it. And I specifically chose this gemstone because I personally have this in my own collection. I have a solitaire in my own collection. And I have to be honest, when I said to the gemstone buyers, I want a Tanzanite ring, I was picturing a cluster. This is no cluster. That is a 2-carat total weight Tanzanite and white Zircon ring for $199.99. Now, if you think about the world of gemstones, if you think about the timeline of gemstones, some gems have been known for over 3,500 years. This gem was discovered in 1967 in Tanzania, thus the name. In fact, the gemstone itself is called zoisite, which isn't necessarily overly attractive, but what they do is they combine the two between zoisite and Tanzania, known as Tanzanite. $199.90. Now, the most fascinating thing, they talk about it having a more complex composition than any sapphire. The color itself more alluring. In fact, Henry Platt named it, the great-grandson of the founders of Tiffany's, named it the most significant blue gem discovery in the last 2,000 years. It is pleochroic. What does that mean? In different light sources, it will shift in color. In fact, it's trichroic. Blues, violets, and even flashes of reds. Now, unlike diamonds, where there's many, many, many hundreds of different locations around the world, there is only one that provides Tanzanite, and that is in Tanzania, near Mount Kilimanjaro. That gemstone source originally started off with 4 mines, block A, B, C, and D, or those areas, block A, B, C, and D. Right now, only block D is in existence. That means that geologists have put a timeline on it about 10, maybe 15 years, and this is older information, where it will no longer be available. So they've called this gemstone a 1-generation gemstone. Those of you, like myself, who are acquiring today, and those of you who are lucky enough to acquire it during the course of while it's still available, will be the first-time owners. From there on out, it will be an heirloom piece. We have sizes 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Did you know, again, I said to the buyers that I wanted a 1-carat. Here's Sue wearing this beautiful ring. Now, Tanzanite, there's a saying to it. They say get born to Tanzanite or born into Tanzanite, where a lot of people are now giving this as, you know, for first-time mums as a birthstone ring. It has in fact been named an alternative to December's birthstone. For $199.99 would be one thing. You got a flex pay of less than $40. This by itself is a 1.25 carat Tanzanite, pear cut Tanzanite. Now, many years ago when I first started showing gemstones, Tanzanite, you'd normally find them in emerald cuts and ovals. This would be classified as a specialty cut. There is no doubt. It's surrounded in snow white zircons, not zirconia, not cubic zirconia. These are genuine white zircons, but the setting of it, look at this. It is absolutely stunning. For less than $40. You have the chance of owning a gemstone that has only been in existence since 1967. Now, I do want to point out as well that right now, and this is something else I insisted upon, was I was hoping that we could add there's some collector's items that we actually have available online as well. So adding to this right now, we have 2 much larger pieces. Now, we put these available as of midnight last night. We've already started losing quantity. We only have 4